All right, guys. So with all of the clickbaity, this versus that battle of SYQON versus RCASTRO, I figured I needed to get myself into the fold. So I'm Chad. This is the Easy Astro Images channel, and we're gonna play with some photons today. Now you can tell from the title that I'm a huge fan of both of these things. And really, if we've learned anything over the past couple weeks or months of development of all this, is that Russ was light years ahead of everybody else. Considering SYQON and some other people have tried to match the performance of these tools that have been out for years. He didn't have all of this fancy AI chips and all of these supercomputer models and stuff like that when he was designing his stuff. So hats off to that for sure. Now, no bullshit. If you got one or the other, you're not going to be missing out by going with one or the other. That's just my personal opinion. I am fortunate enough that I have both. I love my RCASTRO tools that I use mainly inside of PixInsight because I run them with the PyMagic Studio script, which is as close to a one-click all-in-one solution that you will ever get to. Also ties in very nicely to Photoshop. And of course, I use them inside of SETI Astro Suite Pro, and same can be done with SYQON. But when it comes to how and when I use them is a little bit different. So let's just go and show you here what's going on. I've got 3 different examples pulled up, and I guess we'll start with Pleiades because everybody's kind of been showing the Pleiades. So we've done the color correction, the stretching, and all that kind of fun stuff. And you can see that we are in a noisy level. So this is where we are at. And what I'm going to do is just make a copy of each one, and you can see how each one processes things differently. So I'm going to run my normal process, which is we're just going to run noise exterminator default 90%, 2 iterations. I don't care about trying to match this or match that. I'm just trying to show you how I use the tools. So you can see it cleaned everything up really well. Now you can throw a mask on that, darken up your background, so on and so forth. Now with Blur Exterminator, what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to use this basically as a poor man sharpening. And you can run this anywhere at this point from like 30 to like 50. So you can just drop it on there and it is going to do its thing. And a lot of people talk about it inventing things and this and that. I have always found that the combination of inventing details comes from a little bit too strong of noise reduction combined with too strong of sharpening. As long as you're not going full blast on everything, you should be all good. Now, there's a couple other ways that you can do this as well. So if we go back, we have just applied noise exterminator here now, right? So we've got a denoised image. So what I like to do now is use Parallax, and Parallax does a really great job at this type of sharpening versus Blur Exterminator. So it just does more of the heavy lifting for you. There's still more work to do, but I find that at this point in the processing, it just does more for me, and it looks just a lot better than the Blur Exterminator image did. And then if you want to, you can just kind of go from here and throw in some histogram equalization, and you can start making those details pop out as much as you want. The other thing, is using them in combination with each other. So we kind of went through the exterminators real fast. I think everybody knows how that works. So with Parallax, you're supposed to basically use Prism first, and we will go ahead and do that, and we'll do that at like a strength of 60, I think should be good. And we'll run that, and Prism Deep is going to denoise the image a decent amount. It's not designed to go full smooth, full ham on your image, which is totally fine. It still creates a wonderful and a beautiful image. And then what you can do from here is drop parallax on top of that. And then we will do no star reduction. We all know they can reduce stars. We all know they can remove stars. There's no sense in debating all that stuff. Just a waste of time. I want to show you guys how to get more out of your money and how to like use these tools. And by the way, this is like all SEESTAR data. I believe this was an S30. So you can see here we went probably a little too heavy-handed. So parallax can invent stuff as well. And you can see we've got some interesting interactions going on here in between where the stars are removed and everything. Obviously, you just can't do this in a video. It all takes time. So we'll go ahead and get rid of the Pleiades there. Next up, we have Jellyfish Nebula. So this was taken, of course, with the S30. I think this is about 4 hours of integration. So you can see, you know, the noise level here. And again, if we hit it with the blur exterminator, this is like my favorite workflow. I go blur exterminator, not blur exterminator, noise exterminator, 90%, 2 iterations, and that's going to clean everything up. So now we have a nice smooth image. And then I like to take parallax and run it somewhere around 25 to 35. So we'll just do a 0.30 on parallax. And again, like parallax just saves a lot of the heavy lifting, and it does a lot of things really good. In fact, when I run all of my stuff through PyMagic, I will actually take this PyMagic image and run parallax on it and then send it into Photoshop, because it's really even hard to recover these kind of details inside of Photoshop. So, you know, we do the after and before type of thing. If you look at the detail here in the jellyfish, of course, we're only going to get so much because we're dealing with the SEESTAR S30, but I think you can see that right there. And I mean, you could just see the amount of heavy lifting that it did. And I think that at this type of point in the processing, it does a lot better than Blur Exterminator does. Blur Exterminator will still work, but using parallax in this fashion works better in my opinion. And then if you want to run Prism, and then I'll show you what we got here, and we'll keep it at like 85. We'll just dial it all the way up. Sometimes Prism will recover details a little bit better and show things more. You know, I am a believer in what they're trying to do, but this all out here is not signal. Like this is made up stuff out here. I don't care what anybody says. And you know, with the denoising, you know, it's kind of being like super aggressive. Like it's denoising and sharpening at once. So is that a good thing? I don't know. Like sometimes with SYQON, I feel that like I just want their denoising product to denoise, and I just want their sharpening product to sharpen, and Starless just to remove the stars. Kind of the same thing. It's always kind of like playing around a little bit with your image, and you know, there's with parallax, and man, it's super poppy. Like it's definitely like very, very crispy, and if you wanted to, you know, you could just kind of like scale back things a little bit to just chop out some of that detail. And, you know, you would be left with a pretty decent looking image, but you could still see that it's, it hammered it pretty hard out there. So this is what it is. And then we've got just some time here on the Heart Nebula. I think like an hour and a half and not a whole lot going on. Very good test for stuff like this. You know, this is when you would throw a noise exterminator on it. It allows you to apply a mask, so that way you're not picking up all that junk and stuff, and you can focus on your image a whole lot better. But, you know, if your time is limited and you're looking for just a base image, you know, right there, we can throw parallax on top of it, and, you know, parallax is going to probably crisp this up pretty good too, because there's just not a whole lot of signal here. So this stuff works better with a lot of signal and cleaner data. So, you know, if you're shooting from Bortle 7, Bortle 8, and you're trying to use these tools and go after them in an aggressive method, like, it's just not going to work out in your favor. So you're going to be really, really trading some punches there. So, and that didn't turn out too bad. We could do this is the after and before. I really don't really know if it did much. It kind of did something kind of weird there. So I don't know. That's the other thing that you need to think about is stability. You know, they released a noise reduction tool that didn't work on galaxies. The first iterations of the star removal stuff wasn't so good. They fixed problems. They helped me, you know, when they released their software, they didn't have an all-in-one type of thing. The next day they popped one up. I said, hey, can I pay the price difference and get like parallax for SETI and for Pi, PixInsight and everything else? And they said, sure. So the team's great. I think they are definitely on the right track. I just wanted to show you guys some different ways to think about using these tools. And again, this is all after the fact. I don't do any noise reduction or any sharpening or anything. All I do is like a correct only type of maneuver during my linear stages of my processing. PyMagic will do all of that stuff actually in the linear state, and for some reason it does the same stuff that I would do by dragging and dropping, but it always looks better. I have no idea why. So it shouldn't, but it does. So thumbs up for PyMagic Studio. So that's it, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this little like real talk and rant about everything. I can't recap it enough for you guys at all. They're all excellent tools. If you can afford to get all of them, I definitely would say go for it. Now, if you can only afford to go with either PixInsight or SETI Astro Serial, that's kind of up to you which way you wanted to go. So I could go either way at this point. I have no problem with either one, even though I use a lot of Frank's tools and PixInsight, and that probably tells you something. So that's where we're at. We'll talk to you guys later. Peace.